Hello YouTube. Figured I had to make an explainer video for the last two videos that I made. Considering this is supposed to be a video response to Jay for the funny car stories, but I had to put this on the front to be a preface. I just had to show some of my weird creations and some of my hobbies that I am involved in. It's kind of nice to see people's, besides just the pipe side of things, it's kind of nice to see some of the other things that people do, I think anyway, so that's why I'm putting those videos out there. Housekeeping, Peterson Killarney, with a little bit of it's leftover mixes of samples that I had of different Virginias with a little McClellan's Dark Navy flake added to it, and then I aged it for about a year and came up with a pretty good Virginia. It's really sweet. So, the funny car, or the car story, however you want to look at it, for Jay. The car story is, when I was a much younger man, I worked for a geological survey crew for an oil company. And we were traveling all around the country. As a matter of fact, I was even up in Jay's neighborhood. I did survey lines in Michigan, Wisconsin, Minnesota. And then I went down to Texas. Well, when I went down to Texas, I had, let's see, just before I went up to Michigan, I had bought a Volkswagen microbus. That was kind of my car of choice for many years. I owned probably 14 or 15 different versions of Volkswagens, all the way from the Beetles to the microbuses to the Rabbits to the, I think I had a couple Scirocco's, and I worked for 10 years as a Volkswagen mechanic, so I had all kinds of different Volkswagens. I even built a few Volkswagen trucks for different people. But anyway, I had bought this microbus, and I'm headed down to Texas. We left Michigan and headed for Texas. Well, back then we didn't have the internet at that time, and at least I didn't. And I don't think I even owned a computer back then. So you sent your registration in, and you got your little receipt thing that you stuck in the window to prove that you'd sent in for license plates, with a little money order thing, and that was good for 30 days. Well, in my travelings around and stuff, I hadn't gotten my registration back to me. I hadn't gotten plates or anything, so I get down to Texas and it's like 32 days. Well, not to be coming down on Texas at all, but their cops don't got much of a sense of humor. So here I am, stuck in Midland, Texas, with no registration. The police seen me driving and told me I couldn't drive because I wasn't registered. And they wouldn't recognize that piece of paper in the state of Texas. So, here I am stuck. I can't go anywhere, and we're done with what we're doing in Midland, and we're headed for New Mexico. And I thought, well, I'd had enough of this stuff, and so I'm headed back to. I'm going to head back to Wisconsin. But how am I going to get out of here? They won't let me drive, and they warned me that if they caught me driving, they were going to lock me up. And so I thought, what do I do? I got no way to get it. I suppose I could have tried getting a hold of the state, but there wasn't much they could do. This was on like a Friday. And so I thought, well, what do I do? So I thought, well, I called home and I got the number for the local police department, of which we were, in my younger days, I was quite familiar with the local police department. I kind of raised a little hell when I was younger. And so the local chief of police and I were on first name basis. Not necessarily on good terms, but we were on first name basis. So I called him up. I thought, who better to call to try and avoid cops than another cop? So I called up my local chief of police, and he basically told me, he says, well, if it's being it's Friday, he says, wait until about, 2:30, 3 o'clock in the afternoon when traffic starts picking up heavy, and chances are they'll be busy enough they won't have time to chase you. Well, the little motel I was staying, I was just about, well, I wouldn't say I was out of gas, but I wanted to have enough gas to get across the Texas line and into Oklahoma. So up the road from our motel that we were staying in, they had a little self-service station there that had the local bikers kind of hung out there, and to say the least, they didn't have a very good reputation with the cops either. But there was a police scanner that played right out to the pumps. You could hear the police scanner going, and I knew that it was there because we'd been up to the restaurant up the road from there a couple nights before having dinner. So I knew that this gas station was there. So I left the motel parking lot, I had everything all packed up, left the motel parking lot, headed for that gas station, stuck the pump in the car. I think I gave the guy 20 bucks and told him that when I heard my name come over the scanner, I was getting the hell out of there and he could keep whatever wasn't pumped into the car, and he said fine. So I started pumping gas, and I think I got about $10 or $12 into the, oh yeah, if I probably didn't, I don't know if I even got $10 or $12 into the, but I got enough in there to get me across to Oklahoma anyway, and I heard it come over the scanner on the speaker out there. Yellow Volkswagen bus has left the motel parking lot, locate and apprehend, and I thought, okay, time to get the hell out of here. So I quit pumping gas and jumped in the van, and I got out on the main drag, and there was 2 stoplights between me and the turnoff to get onto the interstate, and I got green on the first light, so I made it through the first light, but I could see about 8 or 10 cars behind me was a squad car, because as I pulled out I could see him coming down the street. So I had several cars between me blocking traffic. He couldn't get to me, and the second light turned red, but I was the first or second car at the light to go around the corner. So when the light turned green, I beat ass down the on-ramp onto the highway, got on the highway and took off down the highway, and I guess they figured I wasn't worth chasing because they never chased me and they never called ahead on the radio, so I got it out without getting a ticket or getting thrown in jail, and I got back home, and guess what was in the mail when I got home? My license plates. So there's my car story for you, Jay. We'll see you later.